We are here with a controversial take
Oh my gosh.
about Kirby Air Riders.
Yeah. Nintendo has a bit of a launch date issue right now.
Unfortunately,
where
yes.
They have a lot of these games that have been previously announced for 2025 that as of now, August,
No dates.
none of these have a release date. So we're of course talking about Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Metroid Prime 4, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, and Kirby Air Riders.
Yes.
And we've been at Nintendo where we've had these situations before. It can be a stressful thing to trust. Like, gosh, we have all these games. Some of them are maybe ready. Some of them are, kind of trying to make their way to the finish line. What do we do?
Right.
So they have this opportunity, though, to take this moment of reflection and truly map out, okay, based on what we have and what's available to us, what is the best decision for us now in early August to not only have as successful a rest of the year, 2025, as we can, but also maybe give ourselves a bit of a push. Start next year off on the right foot. And I think there's a number of reasons why this decision to push Kirby Air Riders into next year is something that, if they're not talking about it yet, I think they should.
I think they're talking about it now. And I think that they recognize that they have a bit of a challenge with some of these launch dates. And the reason why we haven't seen or gotten a full picture of, what is happening with these games, what does the rest of 2025 and early 2026 look like for Switch 2. The reason we haven't gotten that full picture yet, and it is August, is because they are struggling to map it out. And when we were at Nintendo, there was a group of people that would be mapping out the, ongoing year-long plus rollout calendar for all of these games. It wasn't just like, oh, a game is ready, we're gonna launch it. There is somebody strategically mapping all of this out, making decisions as to where we should place these finished games, where they would have the best chance of doing the best that they can for Nintendo. So they're not just people are making arguments oh, all of these games are rated, all of these games are still on the calendar, Nintendo just said for 2025. They totally have the right to change their minds and make different decisions. And I think they're having these discussions right now, looking at the entirety of the calendar for 2025 and definitely into 2026.
Right. And specific to Kirby, because you might say, well, why Kirby? What about some of the other games? There are a few specific circumstances that are specific to Kirby that make it the ideal candidate to push it out that we're going to be going through in this video. And people might be saying now, oh, well, why are you even talking about this? They did their financials last week and they reconfirmed 2025 for Kirby and all of these other games. Well, we've been involved in those financials. We know there have been times where games have been on shaky ground. It's we kind of don't know. But it's always this financial thing, this is not the forum to make these sorts of announcements.
That's right.
And we're delaying this game. It's no, we'll stick to the party line, and when we know for certain, we will share that information. So that means those mean nothing to me.
Yeah, the
honestly.
financial updates where they have a little chart that says these games are coming out in 2025. That is the place where they basically would just repeat any official announcements.
If you hadn't heard, here's what we said before.
Exactly, and they had said that in the April
Right.
Nintendo Direct, and so they're just going to keep repeating that until they decide otherwise. Whenever they delay something, whenever they make the decision to finally, change information that they've shared previously, they will make a separate announcement for it. That is, we've seen it with Tears of the Kingdom, for example, with Metroid, right? So, yeah, those financial updates, and people were citing that as this is now written in stone that these games are coming out in 2025 because it was in a one slide in a financial update is completely wrong.
Yeah.
That is not the source of truth. If you're looking for a source of truth, that's not
Right,
it.
right. And we're not here to say oh, these games are definitely getting delayed or not. We don't know. There's a scenario where all these games still come out this year. We're looking at the circumstances around Kirby, and again, this is maybe not, what the good people out there want to hear. It's Nintendo's thinking is not oh, let's give the stuff out so that people can have fun. It's no, they need to manage a business
Right.
and manage the rollout of these games that will build momentum for the Switch 2.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're looking at much more than that.
The fun that you're having is probably the bottom of the list of the checklist of decisions that they want to make for their business, right? So yeah.
So let's get into these.
Some reasons.
Yeah, let's get into these reasons. First reason, again, it's now August.
Mm-hmm.
We just mentioned 5 games. Looking at the calendar, we do have Pokemon Legends ZA.
October.
Very firm October date. We've been hearing about that for a long time. I don't think any of these 5 games that we talked about are coming out this month in August.
Absolutely
because these
not.
games deserve proper rollouts, proper unveiling. Kirby Air Riders, we have not seen gameplay footage. All we have seen is a pre-rendered trailer of this game so far. So it's like we have some work to do to get people ready for this and to make this
just to learn about what this game is about.
To make this into the big launch that it deserves to be. So that takes us into September, October, spoken for, November, okay, and December is never an ideal date because you're already kind of losing out on the opportunity of the holidays. So in a lot of cases, it's like, well, if it's December, we might as well just wait
until Q1 of 2026.
Exactly. That's not to say, again, not to say it can't happen, has never happened. It's happened with a Sakurai game, happened with Smash Ultimate.
Yeah.
I would say Smash Ultimate is it kind
of carries itself.
It's a very different case. Where
I worked on that game, and we went through this exact exercise of talking about, okay, the team needs more time to get this game done. What if we push to December, what does that mean? We did a whole analysis of what that means. But Kirby and Smash Ultimate are very different games.
Exactly.
And I don't think Kirby can carry the same weight as a Smash Ultimate.
It also happened with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Again, you could argue that's a very different situation where you had this packed 2017. It's like, oh yeah, let's add one more for December, cap off this big year. It's great. It's a very different situation versus now. It's like, oh, we're just trying to place this stuff on the calendar in a way
space it out.
That makes sense and space it out. Right. You don't want to do like one game one week, one game the next because then
both fail.
There's some amount of people who are just gonna be like, well, I have to pick one or the other. Or I'm gonna get one, and I'm gonna just move on.
You just cannibalize yourself. Why would Nintendo want to do that? They would not want to do that.
So there's no reason to just cram these things out. Also, let's not forget, we have a Kirby game coming out later this month.
That's right.
We have Forgotten Land and the Star Crossed Worlds, the big expansion. So again, you think about managing that franchise, like. That would be weird if it's like, all right, we got Kirby in August and September. It's a big Kirby fest. It's like, well, maybe that's too much Kirby.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So, and we've also shared this theory before about how Nintendo is kind of managing this generation of just enough, where it's like, there's no need to just, shotgun out these games. It's like, no, give people just enough to get them through. And we realize this will hopefully be a very successful and long generation for us. So yeah, we said 2025, but if that's not the ideal thing for us, let's not hesitate to make a decision to push it into next year. What's the downside?
Yeah, no one's holding your feet to the fire. The thing about the just enough is becoming so much more apparent as time goes on. I had like some hopeful thinking of like, they might make it. They want to make a big splash.
One more game
for Switch 2. Is there one more game? Is there one more surprise they have up their
No, there's
sleeves?
actually less games.
There's actually less games, and I think that they are truly like conservatively playing the long game. Yes, that feels a bit more anticlimactic and a little bit boring for fans.
It's good for them, though.
But it's really good for them.
Right.
Like, they're not thinking about fans. They're thinking about them.
Right.
So from that perspective, as a fan, you're like, oh, darn, I hope for like sort of the 2017 barrage of games, like this just packed list, one after the other. They're in a very different situation right now where they don't have to do that.
Right. And
it just seems like more and more the evidence is pointing to like they absolutely are. If they can hold back even less and just do the bare minimum to really keep people kind of engaged and interested, they're going to do that, and they're not going to hesitate to do that.
Right. So a lot of those things that we just went through, honestly, those could apply to different games as well. It's like, well, Hyrule Warriors, push that into next year. If you've got to push something, just get the Kirby out. So, okay, fine. Let's talk more about why Kirby is the game.
Specifically.
If you're going to push something, is the one to push. There's a lot of racing games on Switch 2 and coming to Switch 2. So people are still playing Mario Kart World despite the game is ruined controversies and such.
Yeah. yeah.
They just shared in that same financial update, there's almost a 1-to-1 tie ratio. So almost everybody who has a Switch 2 has Mario Kart.
Obviously, the bundle has helped that immensely, and anyone that bought the bundle, they have a game that's a racing game that they can be playing.
And a lot of those people are buying those like last week, so it's still a fresh game in their mind.
The game's not even 2 months old yet.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that'll eventually decrease, but it's not going to happen anytime soon.
No.
And as long as that bundle is still out there in this kind of launch phase, that's still going to be getting picked up and be very often played.
They have already announced that they are going to be doing the Pokemon ZA bundle, but I think in October they can do Pokemon ZA, and then for Black Friday it makes total sense for them to bring that Mario Kart bundle back to really again appeal to any of that like mass audience gift giving kind of person that hasn't bought a Switch 2 yet. That's like the perfect place for them to do that. So they're going to get another hit with Mario Kart in the holidays regardless.
So Mario Kart is still going to be like the top dog in terms of racing through the end of the year. Let's talk about Sonic Racing Cross Worlds.
Right.
This is another big racing game that is coming in September. It's not as big as Mario Kart, but it does feel like a series that is growing.
Yeah.
With every installment. It feels like a series that has not yet reached its full potential. So I think this game's actually going to be kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I think this game's going to do really well for Sega. It's doing these interesting crossovers with like Minecraft and SpongeBob. And there are people out there who I actually like this better than Mario Kart.
Right.
So that's another big game coming in September. Again, September is the month after the Kirby expansion, and now you have this other big racing game being more competition for it, and you're competing for yourself with Mario Kart. Sounds like September's not a great time to release this game.
No, September might be out, period.
Right. And and these are all very similar games. These are character-focused, light-hearted racing games. Like this is not the
Forza.
This is not Forza. This is not Gran
racing.
Turismo. It's like this is much more on the light-hearted side of things. So it's like Nintendo needs to ask themselves, like, are we giving this game the best shot to achieve its full potential?
Yeah.
If we put it out at this time where the market's saturated with these games and people are playing other games that are like this.
Right.
We have Kirby Air Riders at home. It's called Mario Kart.
Why would you do that as a business? Why would you launch your game in such a crowded space where you're not able to, you have control over this. You can decide to not do this.
Right.
So, there's nobody.
But you said 2025.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, well.
So,
all right. So let's move on to our last reason. And this reason is the wild card here. And it is the kind of relationship with Sakurai factor. And Nintendo's need to kind of very carefully massage this relationship with him.
The kid gloves are on.
Yes.
They're duct taped to the hands.
Right. So, he did Smash Ultimate. It was this huge success, achieved so much. And he quite frankly admitted, he's like, I got
burnt out.
I got nothing left in the tank.
He took a very long hiatus.
He did the YouTube stuff. Right.
He was very vocal about how, from his perspective, Smash Ultimate is sort of like, that's why it's called that, is like the ultimate thing that he's wanted to do for Smash, and now he wants to maybe do some other stuff. And obviously, Kirby Air Riders is in that vein of like games that is not Smash, that he has a personal passion for. And Nintendo basically is sort of like, we will let you do what you want, because eventually we're going to come a-knockin' for the next Smash. And we want to make sure this relationship is strong so that you'll say yes. And frankly, Sakurai holds the cards in this equation. Like Nintendo,
he could say no.
Nintendo has less power for once, than Sakurai does. And he is the one that has the power to say no, the power to just be like, well, you know what, you pissed me off because you didn't do what I asked you to do with Kirby Air Riders, so I'm retiring. See you later.
And again, not a Nintendo employee. So unlike, hey, Mr. Aonuma, you're making another Zelda game.
And he's
all right,
I don't want to.
What can I
do? Too bad.
What can I do? Too bad.
Right, too bad. You got to do it.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I don't have to say yes to everything that you say. And he's in his mid-50s now. He's talked to
He just celebrated a birthday.
Yeah, he's talked about how like, I probably don't have too many more of these massive games in me. So like that decision to devote 5+ years to the next Smash, that's gonna weigh on him. So there has been this other thing that's been going around talking about how Kirby Air Riders is this passion project that Nintendo let him do as kind of a goodwill gesture, with the understanding that after he does this,
he will make Smash.
One for you, one for me. Now you're making Smash after this.
Well, that's the whole point. You give and take. I'll scratch your back and let you do this, and you scratch ours and make a Smash game for this generation.
So if that's the arrangement, and you really need him feeling great, positive, refreshed at this game that's his re-entry into game development, if there's anything about this game that's not going perfectly, this is not the game to burn him out on. It's not like, hey, the crunch is on. You're working 7 days a week, 18 hours.
We need you to get this game out in September.
No, because after that, you'd be like, forget this. You just reminded me of everything I hated about working on the last Smash game. I don't want to do this.
And he also is, as we talked about before, and my firsthand experience working with Sakurai is that he is on another level in terms of perfectionism. And even the stuff that you might think, like, let that one go. You can move on and not like kind of obsess over these tiny little details. He doesn't do that. He makes sure everything is not your perfect, but his perfect, which is like an unimaginable level of perfection. And if you don't let him do that, he will be very upset. He will be mad. So I don't know how long he's going to take to make this game, but Nintendo is in absolutely no position to be like, hey, can you speed up? Can you like make this faster?
Right.
Like he's doing this on his own schedule at his own pace.
Right. And we're not here to say like, oh, this game's in trouble. Like
not at all.
We don't know. But again, have not seen footage for this game that is supposedly coming out this year.
And when they announced this game in April, his own tweet was like,
he's had it's a big undertaking. We're working hard.
Please wait longer. Is what he said.
Exactly.
Himself. So I mean, just knowing him, like he is very much going to be making sure that it's perfect. Compare
that to Retro Studios. It's like, hey guys, we're on year 7 of this thing. Let's get this thing out. Let's wrap this up so we can get this out. Like that feels to me like a much more likely now November game for Nintendo of like we're going down to the wire, but we got to get this done. God. That's a great big game for November versus again pushing him to do something where it's like this is such a great game for Q1. 2026?
Oh, perfect. You're like 6 months outside of Mario Kart. You need something happy and light to like take you through the cold winter months.
I think this is a great Q1 game.
And then you can give him time to perfect the little details that he wants to do.
I agree.
And also, you want to make sure that you give this game due marketing as well. Like if you're just like trying to like push it out, among all of your other marketing things in the holiday, like you don't give it its own moment. And he's not gonna like that either.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna want you to, like the marketing team to really like go behind this and give it its spotlight. So it's just so much easier to do that, not in that crowded holiday time frame.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And Nintendo's in a position where, the Sakurai Presents could drop tomorrow, and they could, be like, oh, here's the big blowout. We got the footage. We got all this. And the previews are dropping, and the game's coming out, and November 1st or something like that.
Yeah.
But until we have those dates, until this stuff all gets ironed out, these are the conversations you need to have of again. Not how do we drop the games to have everybody having fun. It's like, no, we need to manage the business and this platform in a very kind of
strategic,
dispassionate way to get the most out of it.
Right. And if they are looking at, an 8+ year generation, they're still transitioning so many people over too from the Switch 1 generation. It's gonna take them a long time to do that.
Yeah.
And then they're really gonna get going into like the pure Switch 2 generation.
Yes.
They have a long road ahead of them to make sure that it's going to be successful and sustainable. They're going to have to make these kinds of decisions. And again, for a fan, like if you take yourself out of like the business mind, you're like, this sucks.
Right.
I don't like this. I want these games now. I want to play Kirby Air Riders. I want to play Metroid. Where are these games? Give it to me now. They don't care about that at all.
Right.
They don't care. They want to make sure that they have the sustainable road forward. And if that means like some crazy fan is not happy, they could care less about it.
It's probably going to be all sorts of, nasty comments on this video. But again, like this is how the company thinks and how the company operates.
Yeah, obviously it's not great for the people that are with Switch 2s waiting around for new games to come out. But yeah, more than ever, I totally think this is their sort of ongoing attitude probably for the entirety of this generation.
Right.
So I think for me as a fan now, the lesson is like we just got to get used to it now. Like this is the sort of the new normal, as they say.
These games will eventually come out. It'll be fine.
These games will eventually come out. And in the meantime, I'm sure there's lots of other things we can find to occupy our time. But yeah, the days of sort of these packed, release calendars for games, I don't think that's happening anymore for this generation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is our controversial take on Kirby Air Riders and why we think Nintendo is having these internal conversations about what to do with this game and frankly, some of these other games that don't have dates either. It is a really interesting time for Nintendo. Obviously, when we started this Switch 2 generation, we sort of had a sense like, okay, they're going to run into some challenges and some hurdles along the way. I think we're finally seeing the first of these now, which very apparent that it's a little chaotic over there probably with trying to decide, what to do, how to place these games so that the Switch 2 has a really good first holiday and good momentum going into 2026. So yeah, that's what we think is going on over there. I totally feel for them. This seems like kind of a bad situation, honestly, and they must be feeling the pressure a little bit. So
I mean, you could argue, again, for these games. I'm not worried about these games being good. It's not like we put a date and oh my gosh, is it actually going to be ready or not? Well, we got to ship it. It's like you can look at this the complete opposite way of like they're giving every game the time it deserves, and they won't put a date on it until they're actually ready.
Exactly, and that is their way.
So turn that frown upside down. We're feeling good now.
You gotta wait. Gotta be
Yeah.
patient. All right, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen to Kirby Air Riders? Are you really bummed out that this game may or may not come in 2025? Tell us in the comments below. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.